Frederick Douglass was born into a world that did not want him to be free. He was born a slave around the year 1818 in Talbot County, Maryland. His exact birthday was not known, which was a cruel fact for many slaves. His name was Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey back then. He was separated from his mother when he was just a baby, and he barely knew her. He lived on a large plantation where the life of a slave was hard and full of pain. It was a life without hope, a life where the days were long and the nights were dark, but inside young Frederick, a small fire was waiting to be lit. He saw the world around him and questioned why things had to be this way. Life on the plantation was filled with constant work and fear. Slaves were treated like property, not people. They were bought and sold. They worked from the moment the sun rose until it set, and sometimes even longer. Frederick saw the cruelty of the slave owners. He saw the beatings and the endless labor. He felt the hunger and the cold. This world was designed to break a person's spirit. It was meant to make them feel less than human. Frederick knew this was wrong. He felt it deep in his soul. This feeling grew stronger every day, pushing him to look for a way out of the darkness that surrounded him. A change came when he was sent to Baltimore to live with the Old family. His new mistress, Sophia Old, was kind at first. She had never owned a slave before. She began to teach Frederick the alphabet. This was a turning point. Learning to read was like opening a door to a new universe. But her husband, Hugh Old, found out. He was furious. He told her that teaching a slave to read was dangerous. He said it would spoil him and make him want to be free. Hearing those words was a revelation for Frederick. He finally understood the secret. Knowledge was the pathway from slavery to freedom. Hugh Old's anger did not stop Frederick. It only made him more determined. He understood that the power his masters held over him was rooted in ignorance. If he could learn, he could fight back. He started to learn in secret. He was clever and brave. He would trade pieces of bread with the poor white boys in the neighborhood, asking them for reading lessons in return. He would study letters on the sides of ships in the shipyard. He practiced writing by copying words in the dirt and on wooden fences. Each new word he learned was a victory. Each sentence he could read was a weapon against the chains that held him. As Frederick grew older and his mind grew sharper, the desire for freedom burned brighter than ever. Reading had opened his eyes to the true injustice of slavery. He read books and newspapers that spoke of freedom and human rights. He read about brave men who fought for their beliefs. These stories filled him with a powerful longing to be his own master. He could no longer accept a life of bondage. He knew he was not property. He was a man with a man's mind and a man's heart. The chains on his body felt heavier each day because his mind was already soaring free, tasting a life he had only read about. The dream of escape was a dangerous one. Slaves who were caught trying to run away faced terrible punishments. They could be beaten severely or even killed. Their failure would be used as a warning to others, a way to crush any hope of escape. Frederick knew these risks well. He had tried to escape once before and had been caught. The experience was terrifying, but it did not break his spirit. Instead, it taught him valuable lessons. He learned to be more careful, more patient, and more strategic. He knew his next attempt had to be his last. He had to succeed, or he might never get another chance. In 1838, at the age of 20, Frederick made his daring move. A free black sailor named Anna Murray, who would later become his wife, helped him. She gave him some of her savings and a sailor's uniform to use as a disguise. He boarded a train heading north, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. He carried identification papers borrowed from a free black seaman. Every moment was tense. He had to act confident, like he belonged. Any sign of fear could give him away. The journey was long and filled with peril, but he held on to his courage. After a tense journey by train, steamboat, and foot, Frederick finally arrived in New York City. He was a free man. The feeling was overwhelming. For the first time, he was the master of his own destiny. He was no longer Frederick Bailey the slave. He chose a new name for himself, Frederick Douglass. He chose the name from a poem he had read. It was a symbol of his new life, his new identity. He had escaped the physical chains of slavery, but he knew his work was not over. His mind was free, his body was free, and now he had to use that freedom to help free his people. Once he was free, Frederick Douglass did not hide in the shadows. He had a powerful story to tell, and he knew the world needed to hear it. He settled in New Bedford, Massachusetts with his wife, Anna. There, he began attending abolitionist meetings. These were gatherings of people who wanted to end slavery. At one of these meetings in 1841, he was asked to speak about his experiences as a slave. He was nervous, but he stood up and told his story. His words were powerful, they were real. People were moved by his speech. They had never heard a former slave speak with such intelligence and passion. Douglass quickly became a famous speaker for the Massachusetts Anti-Slavery Society. He traveled all over the northern United States, sharing his story. His voice was like a lion's roar, echoing across lecture halls and churches. He described the horrors of slavery in vivid detail. He was living proof that black people were not inferior. He was intelligent, articulate, and brave. Some people did not believe he had ever been a slave because he spoke so well. To prove them wrong, he decided to write his story down. This was a very dangerous decision, as it would reveal his true identity and location to his former master. In 1845, he published his first book, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American slave. The book was an instant bestseller. It was a powerful account of his life in bondage and his escape to freedom. It shocked readers in the North and around the world. The book was so detailed that Douglass had to flee to Great Britain to avoid being captured and returned to slavery. He spent 2 years there, speaking to huge crowds about the evils of slavery in America. His friends in England were so impressed by him that they raised money to officially buy his freedom. When he returned to America, he was legally a free man. He could no longer be hunted. He started his own abolitionist newspaper called the North Star. The paper's motto was, "Right is of no sex, truth is of no color, God is the Father of us all, and we are all brethren." Through his newspaper and his powerful speeches, he fought not just for the end of slavery, but for equal rights for all people. He believed in the power of words and ideas to change the world. His voice became one of the most important in the fight for justice and freedom in American history. Frederick Douglass's work went far beyond writing and speaking. He was a man of action. His home in Rochester, New York, was a station on the Underground Railroad. This was a secret network of people who helped runaway slaves find their way to freedom in the North or in Canada. Douglass and his wife Anna risked their own safety to provide food, shelter, and guidance to hundreds of people seeking freedom. He was not content with just his own liberty. He wanted to pull as many of his brothers and sisters out of bondage as he could. He understood that freedom was not truly won until everyone was free. He also met and advised some of the most important leaders of his time. He became a friend and advisor to President Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War. He pushed Lincoln to make the war a fight to end slavery and to allow black men to fight for the Union. Douglass argued that black soldiers would not only help win the war, but would also earn their right to citizenship through their service and sacrifice. His powerful arguments helped lead to the Emancipation Proclamation and the formation of black regiments in the Union Army. He even helped recruit soldiers, including 2 of his own sons. After the Civil War, Douglass continued his fight for equality. He knew that ending slavery was only the first step. He fought for the right of black people to vote and for full citizenship. He also supported the rights of women to vote, working alongside famous suffragists like Susan B. Anthony. He served in several government positions, including as a U.S. Marshal and as the U.S. Minister to Haiti. He showed the world that a black man, a former slave, could be a respected and influential statesman. He broke down barriers and opened doors for future generations. Today, Frederick Douglass is remembered as one of the greatest heroes in American history. He is a symbol of courage, intelligence, and the fight for justice. His life proves that one person can make a huge difference. He shows us the power of education and the importance of speaking out against injustice. His story is not just about the past, it is a lesson for today. It reminds us that the fight for freedom and equality is never truly over. The lion who wrote history left behind a legacy that is etched in stone, inspiring us to continue building a better, more just world for all.